So this is a video on the sociology of inequality, about gender inequality, in particular, and gender inequality at work. So the key words: childcare, assumptions, glass ceiling is going to be an important phrase later on. So let's go through a few things, shall we? The FTSE 100 is the 100 biggest companies in the UK. 93 of them have bosses that are male, only 7 have bosses that are female. So there's definitely something going on here. The law says the following: 1974 Sex Discrimination Act. It is illegal to discriminate against women. This means you may not, by law, refuse to employ a woman because she is a woman. It also means it is illegal to pay a woman less than a man for doing the same job. And yet, women suffer discrimination at work, even though it's against the law. How come? Lots of ways to look at this. Because of women's gender roles, we'd say, women are drawn towards certain jobs. Nurse, nursery teacher, secretary. These are all jobs where they're looking after somebody else. Sick person, child, man. They're looking after somebody else. They're working for a man, looking after children, looking after men. So you've got this case where women are drawn to these jobs. These jobs are not that well paid. Women are less well paid. But why are they drawn to these jobs? So the argument is they're drawn to these jobs because they've been socialised into thinking this is normal for them. This feels right to many women because of their socialisation process. Yeah. Now, feminists would argue this is a part of the patriarchy. This is part of the patriarchy. The socialisation process is just a form of brainwashing to maintain male hegemony, leadership, control. There's also the case of part-time work. Many women choose to do part-time work. They choose to do part-time work because they've got childcare issues. It seems reasonable enough. But if you think that their husbands, their partners, their fathers, their children, they never think I should get part-time work in order to look after my kids. It's the women who choose these jobs because they think it's their gender role. And these jobs are often low paid and low status. There are not that many high status part-time jobs. Right. Then you've got assumptions. Many men, especially men in power, men in control, bosses of companies, have certain assumptions about females. They can't take the pressure. They will get too emotional. They'll burst into tears. If it's their period, they won't be able to concentrate. I can't give them a tough job. They won't be able to cope with it. Also, you get the thought, well, what about if that young woman gets pregnant? If she gets pregnant and she's got this important job, this big job, this pressurised job, this highly paid job, A, I've got to pay her while she's off work. B, I've got to employ somebody else to do her work while she's gone. I'm a boss of a company. It's a capitalist company. It's about money. So I won't give that young woman that job because she might get pregnant. Now, I won't say that to her because that's illegal. Put these two things together and you've got what's called the glass ceiling. An invisible barrier that is stopping women rising to the top in organisations and companies and all that business. It's made of the assumptions of men. It's a patriarchal thing. The glass ceiling, an invisible barrier stopping women rising. It's a metaphor, obviously. It's not actual barrier made of glass. Don't put that. Add to that, certain feminists like Anne Oakley mentioned the dual burden. It's not just something that happens to happen. It's patriarchal. It's a part of keeping women down. If women have the dual burden, if they have a job but all the domestic duties and the childcare on top, they cannot do well in their work. It's more difficult for them to do well in their job because they have this extra domestic work. So the dual burden becomes part of the patriarchal system, keeping women down, giving men an advantage. Which leads to the gender pay gap. Women on average, in similar jobs to men, are paid 18% less than men. Mothers in similar jobs to men are paid 33% less than men. So there's definitely evidence here of gender discrimination at work.